It's not unusual for women who have given birth to experience mild mood changes after having a baby. It's commonly known as the baby blues and lasts only a few days. But sometimes a mother can fall into depression or, on rare occasions, even psychosis. Around 1 in 500 mothers experience symptoms of postpartum psychosis, such as confused thinking, delusions, hallucinations, a manic mood, and cognitive symptoms. It often develops quickly, within weeks of delivery. Many in the psychiatry field consider it a clinical emergency due to the risk of self-harm or injury to others. A 2012 article in the Journal of the American Academy of Psychiatry and Law states that postpartum psychosis is best treated in a hospital because the rapidly evolving symptoms risk the mother and infant. In addition, it has been estimated that untreated postpartum psychosis carries an infanticide risk of 4% and a suicide risk of 5%. Furthermore, researchers have detected a pattern of powerlessness, poverty, and alienation among mothers who kill. Likewise noted is the need for better accessibility of services for women at risk. Interestingly, postpartum psychosis has been described for 2,000 years. In 400 BC, Hippocrates documented a case of confusion, hallucinations, and insomnia 6 days after a woman gave birth. Although modern science supports a genetic component to the risk, and studies have demonstrated the profound effects of hormones on brain chemistry, the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders does not include it as a diagnosis. Some in psychiatric circles have questioned whether the absence of a formal DSM diagnosis causes failure to identify and adequately treat postpartum psychosis. Considering what's at stake, this is a reasonable question.
This is, and I'm going to turn this over to Dr. Samarco here in a second, but this is one of the most disturbing cases I've ever seen in my life. It's a good reason to retire at some point.
27-year-old Deasia Watkins spent much of her early years in a highly volatile and dysfunctional family environment. In fact, it was the complete opposite of a loving and nurturing environment, as neglect and verbal abuse were normalized. Her mother, Tina Johnson, was the primary caretaker. A psychiatrist in 1997 said she exhibited significant deficiencies with respect to parenting and intellectual functioning. Johnson was diagnosed with depression, mild intellectual disability, and schizoaffective disorder. She also struggled with polysubstance abuse. Her father, Terrence Watkins, was never around as he was either incarcerated or absent. He had his own substance abuse issues as well. Unfortunately, the end result for Deasia was severe neglect. The apartment was perpetually filthy, and there was insufficient clothing or food to eat. Occasionally, she was left with strangers or completely alone to fend for herself. According to court records reviewed by the Inquirer, in 1998, a teenager was sexually assaulted in the family's apartment while looking after 3-year-old Deasia and her brother. The prosecutor at that time noted, "There are reasonable grounds to believe the children are in immediate danger." From then until roughly 13, Deasia was introduced to the child welfare system. She was frequently involved in juvenile court matters and attended dozens of hearings. She was in and out of foster homes and was seen by many therapists and social workers. On one occasion, she was sent to an emergency shelter for kids. To no one's surprise, Deasia was profoundly affected by her living conditions. One therapist noted that she suffered from grief and abandonment issues. In addition, for the first 4 years of her life, she was essentially nonverbal. One social worker stated, "She has no vocabulary." It was in 1998 that the court took custody of Deasia and her brother. Because they had different fathers, Deasia and her brother were separated. Deasia was sent to live with an aunt in Cincinnati. For a brief period, social workers reported she was happy and well cared for. However, personal problems made it impossible for the aunt to continue to look after Deasia, and she had no choice but to give up custody. As a result, 5-year-old Deasia felt abandoned yet again. Fortunately for Deasia, Barbara Owens, a longtime friend of the family, said she would be happy to care for her. She had raised 10 kids of her own and was sure she could provide a stable environment for the young girl. And It helped that there were many grandchildren around for her to socialize with. Owens said that it was obvious that Deasia had potential. She was bright and no different than the other kids. Still, it was also apparent that her harsh upbringing negatively affected her. You could tell she was holding stuff in, said Owens. Despite that, 4 years later, social workers determined that Owens had provided a caring and nurturing environment in which Deasia was thriving. She would occasionally ask her therapist whether her mother still thought about her. Otherwise, she was doing well and had adapted nicely to her new surroundings. But surprisingly, in 2005, Deasia's mother returned to the picture and threatened her newfound stability. She wrote a letter to the court, part of which said, "I can take care of my children now. I got myself together, and I miss my children very much. I want to see them, and I want them to come home." She filed a petition to regain custody of her children and went as far as to accuse Owens of neglect. For her part, Owens wasn't too concerned as Johnson's record was poor. She dropped out of the court-mandated drug treatment program, missed several appointments for supervised visits, and skipped Deasia's counseling sessions. Then, she failed to appear at the custody hearing. Afterward, she wrote an explanation to the magistrate which said, "I'm a good mother. I love my children with all my heart. I missed the bus, so I had to wait for the next one, and that was an hour wait." Johnson continued to pursue custody, while Owens stated that she was receiving continued harassment from Johnson's relatives. Deasia was also affected as she felt torn between Owens and her biological mother. Her therapist noticed as well. They reported to the court the constant turmoil was hard on Deasia. Her grades in school started to suffer as she struggled to sort out her loyalties to her mom and Owens. 1 year later, in 2007, Ms. Johnson's persistence would pay off. Citing the constant harassment by Deasia's biological relatives, Owens made the heart-wrenching decision to give up custody. She called Deasia's social worker and tearfully explained her decision. Deasia packed her belongings and was taken to a shelter. Eventually, the social workers placed her with another relative, Michelle Johnson, to take temporary custody of her. By all accounts, she had a relative period of stability under the care of Michelle Johnson. By 2014, then 19-year-old Deasia had moved out of Michelle's house and was living with her boyfriend. She became pregnant and gave birth at the end of 2014. Barbara Owens, who had kept in touch with Deasia, said Deasia was excited about becoming a mom. She claimed Deasia said, "I want to have a baby so I can give her the love I never had." However, it was not long before Deasia's latent mental health issues would surface. Just weeks after she had given birth to baby Janiyah, police were called to Deasia's apartment. Upon arrival, they could clearly hear a baby crying and Deasia screaming. According to the child's father, she was acting crazy and speaking of demons. At first, she refused to cooperate. She wouldn't open the door, and when the police finally gained entry, she refused to hand over the weeks-old infant. Ultimately, officers were able to leave with the child, and as they went, Deasia fainted with her eyes open. Deasia was taken to the University of Cincinnati Medical Center following the incident and given a psychological evaluation. She was diagnosed with postpartum psychosis and admitted to Deaconess Hospital for 72 hours. At an abuse and neglect hearing on March 6, a juvenile court judge ordered the Department of Job and Family Services to take custody of the baby due to Deasia's psychiatric problems. According to the judge, Deasia posed an imminent risk of harm to her child. Her boyfriend, whose paternity had not yet been established, was also ordered to stay away from the baby when the court found both parents were neglectful. The judge ordered Janiyah placed in state custody. Social workers arranged temporary guardianship with Deasia's aunt under strict orders not to allow Deasia in the home or near the baby. Unfortunately, the courts were unaware that Deasia, in the midst of postpartum psychosis, was welcomed back to the aunt's house just days after the hearing. On Monday morning, March 16 at 6 a.m., a 5-year-old relative was dropped off at the aunt's house as usual to wait for the school bus. But unfortunately, the young boy encountered a gruesome scene upon entering the house. 3-month-old baby Janiyah's lifeless body was observed on the kitchen counter, her head severed, her arm fractured, and her tiny body pierced with 15 stab wounds from a butcher's knife. The boy frantically ran outside to get his father, who woke up the aunt. In a panic-stricken and highly emotional state, she dialed 911.
Thanks so much for being here, Robert.
Since 911, where's the address of your emergency?
Somebody please send the police. My niece
Okay,
killed
ma'am.
her baby. Please.
What is the address?
5957 Wildwood.
Okay, ma'am.
Lord, help me.
Ma'am, who were you just you were just talking to somebody. Who were you just talking to?
My son, he came over here. He found that I was asleep. And he had his kids in to go to school because they go from my house. And he seen the baby on my oh my God, help me.
Listen to me. Listen to me. I need you to stop crying, okay? Stop crying. I need you to help. I need you to take a deep breath and tell me what happened.
Ma'am, please send the police right away.
Ma'am, you weren't crying but I heard you talking to him. You were fine. And then when I picked up, you started crying. I need you to tell me what's going
Ma'am,
on.
I am crying. I was outside screaming.
What happened?
But he keeps telling me to calm down. I don't
What
know
happened?
All I know is my son came in here and woke me up and said, Mama, the baby's dead. And I'm like, what are you talking about? What I'm going to do because she killed this baby. Oh, God.
Okay, why are you saying she killed the baby?
Because the baby is in the room. You're talking to my son.
How old is the baby?
The baby is 3 months. Oh, my God. I'm going to jail.
Hello?
What happened?
Police. I don't know. This house is big. I don't know where my little cousin is. So can you please...
Where is the 3-month-old baby?
The baby, lady. The baby is on my mama's kitchen counter with his head smashed. Now I need you to please send me...
Okay, is it a male or female?
Know where my little cousin is at. Now if a little girl pop up with a weapon, I'm not gonna have a little cousin no more. So can you please... I know it's protocol. Can you please just send the police?
Okay, I need to know what happened to the baby.
I don't know what happened to the baby. I came into the house, she told you, we came into the house, the baby was on the counter. My mom was in the bed asleep. I woke my mom up and we calling you. That's all I know. I don't know nothing else. I have a little cousin, she was here. I don't know
Okay, listen to me.
Look,
Is the baby breathing?
listen, lady, the baby is deceased.
Okay. All right, we're setting the police and an ambulance, okay?
Mama.
What is your name, sir?
Mama, shush. Hello?
What is your name?
I'm Robert Stewart.
And who is the mother of the child?
Huh?
Who is the mother?
Deasia. What is Deasia's last name? Watkins.
Is she there right now?
No, I don't know where she's at. That's the problem. I don't know where this little girl is at. I don't even know if she's in this house. It's a big house, lady. Please. I don't want to look for her. I don't want to look for her. So if you please send the police.
Listen to me, sir. We already have the run started, okay?
All right.
So no one has any idea what happened to the child.
Listen, lady, I cannot explain to you what happened because I do not know. Nobody knows. It happened sometime in the middle of the night.
Okay, what do you see when you look at the child?
Look, lady, I don't want to describe the scene. This screen is very, very bad. All right, the little baby head is open. Like, open. I'm not going in there to touch nothing because I don't want to mess nothing up. I'm not going in there to look because I already seen it. But it's very violent. It's a very violent scene. All right? It's very violent.
All right, sir. We have the police and fire department responding out.
All right? I got to go back to the car because my kids is outside. I don't know where this girl is at. Now, Ma, I need you to either go lock yourself in here or I'm finna go, because I gotta go out here with them. See, come outside, Ma. You gotta pick, because I gotta be out there with them. My kids are scared. I'm not looking nowhere, because if I see her, just go ahead. Okay, Mommy, I'm ready to die. I'm not gonna die. You're not gonna die. Quit saying that. Mama, come on. I don't care about anything right now. Hello?
Yeah, I'm still here. Miss Stewart.
Yes, can I call my aunt, please?
Hey, can I speak to your mom?
Mom, the lady want to talk to you. Hello?
Hey, ma'am, listen to me, okay? We have help on the way. What do you think happened? What do you think happened? What happened to the baby?
I don't know. My son wouldn't let me go. I don't know. I'm on my knees. Oh my God, I was
Something about your daughter killing
my
you?
knees. I want to call my daughter. I'm scared.
Okay, so nobody can tell me what happened?
No, my knees is scared. Oh my God.
All right, we have help on the way, okay?
I'm so scared. Oh my God, I'm gonna die. Oh my God, they're gonna need you. They're gonna need you. Please hurry up. Oh my God. Oh my God. What am I gonna do? Oh my God. What was in my house? What was he doing in my house? Oh my God, ma'am. Oh my God.
They're on their way, okay?
Arriving officers found Deasia asleep and covered in blood. They said sometime late Sunday or early Monday morning, she broke Jania's arm, stabbed her at least 15 times, and decapitated her. Then, she carefully placed the large knife in the baby's hand to give officers the impression the 3-month-old stabbed herself. Afterward, she went to bed. She was immediately arrested and transported to Deaconess Hospital for psychiatric evaluation. From there, she was booked into Hamilton County Jail on aggravated murder charges. Her bond was set at $500,000.
This is